All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the December 2021 organizational meeting of the Carrboro Town Council. Before we get started with our first item, which is our oath of office for our newly elected officials, I want to make a couple of quick announcements. One is, I wanted folks to know that Council Member Jackie Gist cannot be with us tonight. She, her James, her husband, his son, wife, and their 2-month-old grandson are going to be visiting them tomorrow from Denver. And so they haven't seen them in over a year. So they're being very, very cautious about, COVID and everything, and felt a little nervous about being here in a big crowd tonight. But she is really sorry she can't be here. We're going to see some remarks from her, and she's watching us. So, hey, Jackie. And then I wanted to also, before I recognize all of the elected officials in the room, I wanted to first just take a moment to recognize the passing of a really wise mentor of mine, Judith Wegner. So Judith served on the Carrboro Board of Aldermen. But she was, much more than that, too. She was a law professor. She was dean of the UNC School of Law. She also taught state and local government, so she was a mentor to mine in that regard, too. She was on an ABA team that visited our law school just a year and a half ago, and she was an icon in our community. And I just wanted to acknowledge her passing for a moment, and if folks would just take a moment of silence to recognize Judith, I'd appreciate it. All right, thank you all. All right, I'm going to go through some recognitions. Now, this is made more difficult by the fact that we're all masked up, but I think I've captured everyone. If I haven't, I greatly apologize, and I want you to identify yourself if I have missed you. Because this is Carrboro, I'm going to start with Carrboro. So, first I'd like to recognize former Mayor Mike Nelson, who's with us here tonight.
Mike.
So, I'd like to recognize former Alderman, now District Court Judge Joel Hall Brown. And I'd like to recognize former Board of Aldermen member Michelle Johnson. All right, so moving on, then we've got North Carolina State Senator Valerie Foushee with us. And let me back up for just a minute. Let me go way back. I forgot about this. Former Board of Aldermen member Braxton Foushee. Braxton has done so many things. Sorry, Braxton. I wasn't around then. Okay. All right. So we had Valerie Foushee, and then North Carolina State House of Representatives member Greg Meyer. Two of my fellow mayors in Orange County greatly appreciate you being here. Hillsborough Mayor Jen Weaver. And Chapel Hill Mayor Pam Heminger. And I think I saw Chapel Hill Council member-elect Paris Miller Foushee out there. And from the Orange County Board of Commissioners, we have Chair Renee Price here. And I see Anna Richards here from the County Commissioners, too. And finally, I saw hometown guy, District Court Judge Hathaway Pendergrass somewhere.
He's in the hallway.
All right. Okay, that is the list I have. Did I miss? Who did I miss? Is Ronnie back there? No? Is there anyone? Did I miss anyone? Okay. Yeah, I think I saw her. All right, very good. So, all right, there we go. Recognize the electeds. Okay, so at this time, Ms. Town Clerk, I guess, we'll go ahead and go forward with our oath of office for our mayor-elect, Damon Stiles.
So welcome State Senator Valerie Fouchy to administer the oath. Thank you, Valerie.
Yes. The best. I, Damon Stiles,
I, Damon Stiles,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
and the Constitution of North Carolina,
not inconsistent therewith,
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of
as mayor of the town of Carrboro,
as mayor of the town of Carrboro,
on which I am about to enter according to my best skill and
according to my best.
Mayor D, Mayor D, Mayor D.
I know who that is. All right, everyone join me in taking a breath.
Chad.
And thank you, Senator Fouchy. Means a lot to have you here. I'd like to move on now to the administering of the oath to Councilmember-elect Randy Haven O'Donnell, who will be joined by our town clerk, Kathy Durando, and Cantor Jackie Marks.
Don't be crying, it's too early. Later. Rough ride in. No, it's right. Usually it's right left.
I, Randy Haven O'Donnell, do solemnly affirm that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States, the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not consistent therewith, that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office as a council Carrboro, which according to my best skill and ability, so help me God.
Right. All this love tonight.
Okay, next we have the oath of office for Councilmember-elect Barbara Fouché, who will be joined by District Court Judge Joel Hall Brown.
I, Barbara Fouché,
Do solemnly
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
and maintain the Constitution
and maintain the Constitution
and the laws of the United States
and the laws of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
and laws of North Carolina,
and laws of North Carolina,
not inconsistent
not inconsistent
therewith,
therewith,
and that I will
and that I will
discharge
faithfully discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
as a council member
as a council member
of the Town of Carrboro,
of the town of Carrboro,
on which I am
on which I am
about to enter
about
according to my best skill
according to best
and ability,
and ability,
so help me.
so help me God.
All right, everyone, please welcome Councilmember-elect Danny Nowell. Repeat after me. I, Danny Nowell,
I, Danny Nowell,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and maintain
that I will support and maintain
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina,
not
not inconsistent therewith,
and that I will discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
as council,
as a council member of the town of Carrboro,
which I am about to,
on which I am about to enter,
according to my best skill and
according to my best skill and ability.
Look at Danny. I see you, Danny.
Pretty good.
See you down there.
Better than I thought.
pretty comfortable. All right, congratulations, everyone. We're going to move on now, just some brief comments by the council members, and we'll start with Randy. Up to you.
Good evening, Carrboro and friends. As Karen Kincaid Dunn said, and she is the director of Club Nova, said there's no place on the planet like Carrboro. How true. Thank you, Carrboro, for being present here at Town Hall or virtually streaming to share this moment of government transition with us. This is what democracy looks like and how it behaves. Thank you, Lydia, for your time on the board and council, for the friendship we share, the meaningful work you've done, and the exemplary quality of your leadership. Jackie, Carrboro is deeply grateful for the lifetime of service, care, and guidance you have given. Thank you for your love, devotion, creativity, smart and sound stewardship that contributed to the scaffolding that makes Carrboro who she is today. Thank you, Damon, for stepping out and stepping up to take the reins as mayor. 20 years ago, when we met and served together on the Orange County Human Relations Commission, we couldn't have imagined the roles that we now serve today. We were asking courageous questions then, and we continue to do so. It's been a productive journey, and Damon, you're ready and well equipped to meet the leadership challenge. I look forward to your tenure, working with you and our council to keep Carrboro at the forefront of thought leadership and community action. Congratulations, Barbara. You inspire community service and can be counted on to speak from the heart. I'm grateful for the opportunity to have collaborated with you and serve with you on council. I look forward to continuing our work as liaisons for the Race Equity Commission and in support and advancement of BIPOC businesses and entrepreneurial enterprise. Congratulations, Danny, and welcome to the Carrboro Council. With you comes the high hopes to expand the reach of progressive social dialogue in our community. We are here to work with you and Carrboro in that endeavor. Sammy. We've been pushing economic and environmental boundaries for the last decade, beginning with our liaisonship on the Local Living Economy Task Force, launching Locomotion and Plenty, the local currency tokens that we put in action, the Economic Sustainability Commission, the Community Climate Action Task Force, the Environmental Advisory Board, and the Orange County Climate Council. As staunch environmentalists, climate reality, and climate activists, I eagerly anticipate our continued work with the Climate Action Team. And I believe the hopefulness that underlies their work and the work that they will do will inspire our community to amply respond and to model the way of climate action. Susan, your work in food security and living wage advocacy preceded you before you joined the council. Knowing you through that work and through your time on council, I'm excited to continue to serve with you and realize the greater food, health, well-being, security work, and work with for living wage and dignity in work, the goals that you have and the town of Carrboro has together. It's a distinct honor and privilege to continue to serve Carrboro's diverse, inclusive, and progressive community. Thank you for your support and trust in my experience and representation of your voices, interests, and concerns. There is no greater honor or challenge than to serve one's own community. In my view, the goal of an elected representative is to improve the quality of living for the people. The hallmark of a progressive community is its capacity to care for and address the primary needs of the people. We can and we must lift each other up and progress together. Exhausted from the pandemic, the existential threat of climate change, and polarized politics, we may feel we have nothing left to give. Now is precisely the time we must dig deep into the wellspring of our being. Now is the time for our community to work together, building on the foundation we have and advancing the community ideals we wish the future to hold. Our mayor and this council cannot do the work alone. To advance and ensure the tenets of the caring and democratic community we hold dear, equity, diversity, inclusion, justice, climate action, community affordability and security in housing, healthcare, food, work, wages are all commitments we must make together. Now is the time we affirm our commitment. We can do this through small acts of kindness and generosity, food and necessity donations, volunteerism, and civic engagement to strengthen participatory democracy. As we affirm our commitment, I urge you to make yours. Only our engagement in the community can birth, nurture, and make Carrboro's participatory democracy flourish. Quote, "There's no place on the planet like Carrboro. So as long as we all do the work to keep Carrboro's tagline, quote, feel free, real, now is the time to engage, uplift yourself and our community with one small action of care. This is what democracy looks like and how it behaves." Again, thank you, Carrboro.
Thanks, Randy, and congratulations. Councilmember Fushi,
What?
you're up.
What do you want, Mayor D? I hate to even take my mask off. I feel like my lip color is gone. Am I still flossing, y'all? He walks with me. He talks with me. He tells me I am his own. Thanking God for all things, especially this moment in time with all of you. Good evening, everyone. Carrboro community and voters, thank you for entrusting me to sit in one of these seats of governance for 4 more years. I am humbled and grateful for another opportunity. I will continue to be accessible and transparent in my service to you. Shout out and much love to the tribe, which includes my amazing husband, Braxton, my family members and friends. I think is my cousin still out there? Roosevelt Jr., where is he? Roosevelt Jr., Allison, Madison, they're not in the room. My cousin Claude and my cousin Gerald. And I mention these folks because, these family members, because some of you know that I am the only living member of my immediate family. So my family structure has changed. So I look to my cousin Roosevelt Jr., who is like a brother to me. I look to my cousins Claude and Gerald to support me. And also the amazing family that I'm married into. There's my brother-in-law back there, James Fushi, his wife, Dr. Doretha Fushi. James Fushi is Braxton's brother, of course, and I've just married into this amazing family that also includes Senator Fushi and Paris Miller Fushi. So I think I've kind of caught everybody. To the queens, you know who you are. My beloved sorors of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, where my service life began 36 years ago, one of our founding principles. Not to mention the most amazing campaign team that I could ever ask for. They're a big reason why I'm sitting here again tonight. I love all of you, and thank you for the love, the support, the prayers and guidance that you shower me with on a regular basis. A bit about my husband, Braxton, whom I adore and admire. He's going to be mad at me about this, but it's okay. He was the first Black alderman in the town of Carrboro, amongst many other things, and I know that I stand on his shoulders tonight as I sit in this seat of governance. He is such a humble man, and he does what he does for a cause and not for applause. His reputation precedes him because of his humility in service. A wonderful trait to have. Thank you, honey, and I love you to the moon and back for being you and for all that you have been and continue to be in our community. I know you're going to talk to me when we get home, but it's all right. Give people their flowers while they can hear the words and they can accept the gestures. To my pastor, the Reverend Dr. Rodney L. Coleman, and First Lady Crystal Coleman and my FBC family, thank you for all of your prayers, your love, and the spiritual guidance that lifts me up and centers my heart to continue to be of service to all people. I'm going to tell the story real quick. Y'all got a few minutes. I'm going to tell the story real quick about Election Day. So I get up. Election Day is nerve-wracking. I think those of us that just ran can attest to that. Danny, Randy, Damon. So it's a nerve-wracking day. You're thinking about where you need to be, what you're going to be doing all day. My day started out with a phone call from a deacon in my church with prayer. Followed up another phone call from Reverend Coleman, prayer. And I was fortunate enough to have lunch with my First Lady in the middle of a nerve-wracking and chaotic day. These are the kind of folks that support me. I'm going to tell you who the first deacon was to call me, Senator Valerie Fouché. Senator Fouché is more than just someone who serves in the General Assembly. She is so much more to her family and to her church, and she does so much for so many. And I absolutely want to just say that to her tonight. And she may be mad at me too, but I love her anyway. To Lydia Lavelle, level-headed Lydia Lavelle, our outgoing mayor, and Jacqueline Gist, our outgoing council member of 30-plus years. You'll hear more about them later in the resolutions. 30-plus years in a council seat. What a legacy of service, a contribution of time and talent from both of these strong women leaders. So hats off to both of them for being visionary, for being progressive and exceptional community leaders to the town of Carrboro. As this chapter closes, your next chapter will be even greater than your last. Believe that. For Lydia and also for Jackie, who's not here tonight. This one over here. Congratulations to our new mayor, Damon. The book of Luke, chapter 12, verse 48 says, "To whom much is given, much is required." He's ready. I say this not only to Damon as our new mayor, but to all of us as this council embarks on another season of service. Hats off to our newest council member, Danny Now. I am looking forward to working with you and catching up with your organizing from office concept. As I said many times during my recent campaign, community is the way forward as we tackle issues that matter to all of us. And we all are in this together. Welcome to council, Danny Now. And last, but certainly not least, congratulations to myself. and council member Randy Haven O'Donnell on our respective re-elections to council as we enter into another 4 years of service with our new and amazing town manager, Mr. Richard White, and our fabulous and hardworking town of Carrboro staff, whom we appreciate to the highest. Looking forward to continuing the work with all of my colleagues, with town staff, and with the Carrboro community. Thank you so much, and God bless.
So I wanted Councilmember Nowell to have a trial by fire tonight by placing his comments right after Councilmember Fouché's comments. Thank you so much, Barbara. Danny, you're up.
I'll be brief. Occupying this seat next to these leaders and these public servants is the honor of my life. And I'm humbled beyond measure that my neighbors have entrusted me to carry out our shared vision for the community that we share. Before I ran for this office, I really thought that I knew Carrboro and that I was a little bit from here. It felt like a pretty big townie. And now I realize I just got here. and the wealth of knowledge and the open invitation to participate and to continue to build that community that I've received from people at this table and people in this room has given my family a depth of community that I did not know was possible for us to have, and I'm tremendously grateful. I want to take a minute to thank my wife, Sally, who has taught me everything that I have ever learned about working on behalf of other people. She's the most tireless servant for other people that I have ever met. And while I've been out here running for office, she's been doing the hard work. and I can't thank her enough. My mother, Kit, is here in town. She's probably watching at home if my kids are asleep by now. Wouldn't be able to do this without her. And just to be in a place where my family can diffuse into the community and receive that support and give the support and grow alongside the people that we are so blessed to be able to call neighbors is pretty cool. and I just want to pledge to honor my commitment to what I have experienced in this community. When I talk about being a newcomer here who thought he had some roots here, is really open arms, and I have found this community one of the easiest to access. I'm new in this journey, and at every step I have found people who were willing to show me what they've known, to invite me to commit a little harder, to build new skills, and to step into this new role in my life. And I'm driven to make sure that as many people can access this community as my family has. And so I hope to be tireless on that front, and to make sure that as many people can feel just a small bit of what I'm feeling right now, which you have all given me. So thank you very much.
We're going to make sure you're tired. Don't worry about that. You're real tired for us over here. Go ahead, Mayor.
Wanted to make sure that Sammy also, and Susan, if you wish, wanted to share comments, that you had a chance to do that.
Thank you, Mayor. And I just want to begin by saying that I don't know about you, but I always get goosebumps during swearing-in ceremonies. And it has just been especially nice having all of you here tonight to share in this. So, and I know it means a lot to everybody here too. So thank you very much for coming. So I will begin with Barbara and Randy. It's not easy running for office during a pandemic, and you both really found a way to do it. Through door-to-door canvassing and going to outdoor community events and virtual candidate forums and many long hours at the polls. You were out there working hard, meeting lots of voters, and it translated into a huge turnout during this election, and that's in no small part to all of those connections you had made. So appreciate you. Danny, I'll say, anybody who runs for office while holding on a full-time job and parenting a three-year-old and an infant, either they are really good at multitasking or absolutely crazy. So we'll soon find out what the case may be on that. But what you did do, Danny, is you revealed your passion for public service over these last few months by all the doors that you knocked on, to all the conversations that you had, and really helped us bring new people into the fold. And it's going to be really exciting having their voices at the table, but especially your voice over the next couple of years. So we're excited to have you. Damon, even though you are breaking our long streak of all women leaders in Orange County and its 3 municipalities, we are still, this does feel like the perfect time to have you as our mayor. And you have been a long-time advocate for long-term planning here in Carrboro, and your wish is going to finally come true. Carrboro will just hopefully in the early part of 2022, we will be adopting and implementing our comprehensive plan, our Carrboro Connects comprehensive plan, which will really guide our decisions around growth and development over the next 2 decades. And it's also in a very exciting time. We have a $6.8 million in federal rescue funds coming our way. And we're going to be looking to the community to help us prioritize how to spend that money. So we're really thrilled to have your leadership through these 2 really big initiatives. And I know that you will guide council well and also really help us engage more and more community members in the process. So I'll save my comments for Jackie and Lydia for a little bit later, but really great to have this opportunity to work with all of you for the next 2 years.
Thanks, Susan. Sammy?
Thanks. I'll be brief. It's really y'all's night, and a lot has already been said that I don't want to repeat. But I do want to just recognize and be thankful for both those who I've served on this council and those who I will continue to serve as you come on board and you gals continue, and really look forward to doing things differently at this time when we really have nothing to lose given what's at stake in terms of climate and the kind of system that allows us to not recognize other people for who they are and other beings. And we really have nothing to lose in this coming decade. And I really look forward to finding the magic of finding our hearts and having that be the way in which we are led, and using our other capacities such as our mind and figuring this out on the local scale where we really have the connection with community to make things happen. So I'll just keep it brief and want to say I love y'all.
Oh, Sammy got love.
Thank you, Sammy. Welcome, everyone, and thanks to all my colleagues. This is what my face looks like, in case any of you have forgotten over the last couple of years. I'm so glad to see all of you here. I first need to thank the 2 most important people in the room to me tonight, and those are my parents, who, yeah, please applaud. During this very strange time in all of our lives, and a difficult time for all of us. It's really a privilege to be able to have them here from Texas today. So thank you, Mom and Dad, for being here. I also need to thank some friends and supporters, not by name, but just to note that there are a lot of people here I was not expecting to be here, and I'm just incredibly surprised and thrilled and pleased, and thank you. I'm staring at these faces and just really happy. Thank you. I need to thank the voters of Carrboro for giving me and my colleagues this special opportunity. During the campaign, I spoke with people all over Carrboro, as you do during a campaign, people I've known for many years and people I just met for the first time. And what I found and what I think all of my colleagues found on the campaign trail was enthusiasm for talking about Carrboro and for dreaming about Carrboro and for having a role in making the future together in Carrboro. We know from this past campaign season and from our ongoing Carrboro Connects comprehensive planning process, that's at carboroconnects.org, by the way, for those of you looking to participate. We know that our residents want inclusive, equitable, accessible government. We know that our residents want systems that promote safety and care for everyone. We know they want an economy that fosters dignity of all people. And we know they want healthy neighborhoods on a livable planet. And we're only going to realize this vision with meaningful, sustained community engagement. And of course, with the creativity of our hardworking professional staff with the town of Carrboro. And I'm so pleased that so many of you for the first time get to meet our new, still somewhat new town manager, Richard White.
Mr. White.
found his way back to Carrboro after many years, and we're just so pleased to have you here. Thank you. I also want to just quickly thank members of the council, Randy. Since 2005, almost 20 years ago, coming up, you and I served, as you said, together on the Orange County Human Relations Commission. And you were mulling your first run for council back at that time. And since then, I have seen you work with the same boundless energy then that you do now. I honestly don't know how you do it. But thank you for always stepping up to serve and help the group. It makes all of our lives as leaders easier because of your leadership. So thank you. Barbara, for the past 4 years, and really starting before that.
I'm scared, y'all. I'm scared.
Oh, you should be.
I'm scared, y'all.
Really before 4 years ago when you joined the council, you've been a guidepost and a confidant and a friend. And I admire the way you've used not only your 2 campaigns for office, but also your position as a council member, where it really matters, to bring more voices to the conversation, to develop new leaders, to include more people in the policymaking process, especially people who have historically been disconnected from power. Thank you. Danny, the first time I met you as you built your campaign up over the summer, I could already see you were ready to bring serious ideas to the table. And more importantly, you were excited about the opportunity, I think as we've all heard tonight, to get more and more people involved in bringing their ideas to the table. And I have to say, I've also noticed a little bit of a policy nerd streak in there. And everybody knows I love a policy nerd. So welcome to the council and congratulations. Susan and Sammy, you're going to get short shrift in my comments tonight. Sorry. But please know how much I appreciate both of you and look forward to working with you in this new way. I promise as mayor, I'm going to do my best to help all of us be effective in achieving the community's goals together and our goals as a council. And I'm grateful to be here with you. Finally, I want to thank Senator Valerie Foushee for joining us tonight and for agreeing to administer the oath of office to me. In North Carolina, where the authority of local governments and our ability to meet our community's needs without interference and without regressive lawmaking at the state level can be tenuous. And we all know, Valerie knows, Representative Meyer knows, that we need support and cooperation at all levels of government to achieve our goals at the local level. And so thank you, Valerie. Thank you, Greg, for being allies for Carrboro, always. We had, as Susan hinted at in her comments, record voter turnout in Carrboro this year. Next year, we have vitally important elections at the county, state, and federal levels. We must bring the same enthusiasm to those elections that we brought to this year's elections if we have any hope of just hanging on in North Carolina. So please, please keep up the momentum. And on that rousing note, we are going to open our first meeting of this new town council in the way that we always do, which is by welcoming our Carrboro Poet Laureate, Fred Joyner, to the lectern.
Great.
Take this off so I'm not muffled. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Pleasure. Congratulations to the re-elected and the newly elected, and to those who are continuing to serve. First, before I say anything, I want to thank you all and thank all those who have served Mayor Lavelle and everybody else who's served in this community. You all do a great thing by inviting a creative person, an artist, into the halls of governance to allow us to do this for what Howard Thurman, the theologian, would call a centering moment. So it's a blessing to be able to do that. I'm going to try. I'm not going to be long-winded. I do come from preacher folk, but I'm going to give you a two short poem sermon this evening. But I'm thankful for you all and to the citizens of Carrboro who support the West End Poetry Festival and who support artists and creative people actually being able to live in this community. That is no small thing. So I'm thankful. Thank you to you all, and I look forward to, even though my tenure as poet laureate this time is ending, I look forward to being involved in any way that I can. Feel free to call on me if you need anything that I can in any way I can serve. So two quick poems. I'm going to read from this collection. Oh, last thing. A mentor of mine passed away yesterday. Greg Tate. He's a New York writer and art critic. And so this reading is dedicated to him and his family. I'm going to read a poem from a collection called Furious Flower, The Seeding of African American Poetry. It's published by Northwestern University Press, and it's curated by the Furious Flower Poetry Center at James Madison University. So it's the only living archive of African American poetry in the country, run by Dr. Joanne Gabin, a Black woman, very, very important institution. And I have a few poems in here, and so I'm going to read a poem called To the Builders. And in sermon fashion, one is a charge, and one is a kind of a meditation, sort of a benediction, if you will. To the builders. Our hands speak the language of artifacts. Under a Saturday sun, we obey the call of our hands. The burn of builders aching in your palms, the breath of storytellers stirring in mine. We build to leave the world different than how we enter. Leave evidence. A syllable is a brick. A single inked word on a page is a monument in the face of a white horizon meant to erase us. And so this poem is called Solidarity. This came out of an experience working in a building in Washington, D.C. And it's so easy to ignore people when you're kind of focused in your world. But the point of this poem is to take time. And I know I'm preaching to people and preaching to the choir in this room, but we always need a reminder is to take time to notice the people around you who can be allies with you and co-strugglers and co-conspirators. Solidarity. Every night, a woman at least as old as my mother, with a walk labored like my grandmother's last steps, enters my office to clean. Tonight is our last night in the building. She and I talk like old friends, parting ways for the last time, or new friends leaving each other for the first. She utters a few words to me in her smiling Spanish and English. My tongue searches for the right response in my troubled Spanish. We both laugh, sifting through the things our employer has instructed me to discard. We both laugh, knowing. She finds a small black pouch, big enough to hold a month's pay, in her bosom. She shows me the pouch, mimes to me how she will hide it from the night's hungry hands. She puts her hand on her chest, says, El Salvador. I tell her I'm from D.C., Anacostia, I say. She nods. She knows. We both have learned to live well off what others abandon.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fred, as always, for joining us. One of the things that we get to do at these meetings every 2 years is honor outgoing members of the council. And we're going to start tonight in doing that by honoring Jackie Gist. who, as Lydia said, couldn't join us tonight because she's expecting her brand new grandchild to be visiting just tomorrow and is very excited about that. She did tell us to make sure to express how much she misses seeing you in person. I've asked Randy, who among the group of us has worked with Jackie the longest on this council, to share with you the resolution that we prepared in honor of Jackie.
Jackie has been with us in Carrboro as a board and council member for 32 years, so this is going to take a couple of minutes to share. I just wanted to give you a heads up. I'm working on it. A resolution honoring Councilmember Jacqueline Guest. Whereas Jackie Guest is fond of saying, quote, "I wasn't born in Carrboro, but I got here as soon as I could," end quote. Arriving on our nation's bicentennial, July 4th, 1976. And whereas Jackie was the first coordinator of the Interfaith Council for Social Services Community Shelter, was program manager for the ARC of Orange County, was a founding board member of the Community Home Trust, and was a member of the UNC Campus Y and the Apples Service Learning Advisory Board. And whereas Jackie has worked as a career counselor for her alma mater, the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, for most of her career, using her training in social work to assist students and student-led organizations. And whereas Jackie served as a member of the town council for 32 years, having been elected in 1989 and subsequently re-elected 7 times. And she was honored by the North Carolina League of Municipalities in 2019 for reaching the milestone of 30 years in local office. And whereas Jackie represented the town council on the Carrboro Day Planning Committee in Carrboro Vision 2020 work group, the Carrboro Chapel Hill Public-Private Partnership, the Centennial Celebration Planning Group, the Community Building Committee, the Community Home Trust, the End Homelessness in 10 Years Intergovernmental Steering Committee, the Facilitated Small Area Plan Steering Committee, the Greenways Summit, the Hogan Farms Facilitated Mediation Design Committee, the Landfill Owners Group, the Martin Luther King Jr. Park Design Group, the Owasso Carrboro American Stone Neighborhood Facilitated Mediation, the Rogers Eubank Facilitated Community Remediation Group, the Schools and Parks Work Group, the Solid Waste Advisory Board, and the Violent Crime and Gun Control Task Force. And she was the town council's liaison to the Animal Control Board of Appeals, the Parents Commission, the Arts Committee, the Board of Adjustment, the Greenways Commission, the Human Services Commission, the Planning Board, the Recreation Parks Commission, the Stormwater Advisory Commission, and the Truth Black Task Force. And whereas, as a co-founder of the Carrboro Day with Alderman Jay Bryan, Jackie helped to bring the community together year after year to share art, music, poetry, and storytelling. And she further supported the arts by introducing resolutions establishing the Carrboro Poet Laureate, the Poets Council, and a paid summer apprenticeship in the arts for local young people. And whereas Jackie called out injustices when she saw them, and as one example, introduced a resolution to thwart the expansion of the county landfill in the historically Black Rogers Eubanks community. And whereas in December of 1990, Jackie introduced an amendment to the town code that added sexual orientation to the list of characteristics protected in the town's equal employment opportunity policy. And whereas Jackie initiated the town's Truth Plaque Task Force to acknowledge the ties of the town's namesake to racial segregation as part of a process of transforming the narrative of Carrboro and dedicating the community to a future of racial justice. and she asked that Black Lives Matter flags be flown at Town Hall in the aftermath of the George Floyd murder. And whereas, as a longtime liaison to the town's Human Services Commission, Jackie shined a spotlight on the important work of local nonprofit organizations in strengthening the community's safety net and fueling the local economy. And whereas Jackie often paid tribute to the town's police officers for working every day to ensure the safety of the community, and she also highlighted the critical role of social workers and mental health practitioners in community well-being. And whereas Jackie had the foresight to encourage the town to acquire the vacant property at 203 South Greensboro Street, which will become the home of the Orange County Southern Branch Library and other vital cultural, recreational, and social services. And whereas Jackie was a proponent of the acquisition and preservation of the 27-acre Adams Tract, another critical addition to the town's land bank. And whereas during the COVID-19 pandemic, Jackie recognized the strength and resiliency of the community as evidenced by, quote, neighbors checking on neighbors, groups checking on groups, and the town checking on everyone, end quote. And from the beginning of the pandemic, she has been a strong supporter of mask wearing, vaccination, and other important public health measures. And whereas Jackie championed Carboro's small business community by supporting adequate parking and other infrastructure, revolving loan funds, and during the pandemic, hundreds of thousands of dollars in emergency grants to help support the local economy. And whereas Jackie consistently encouraged residents to engage in local government through participation in advisory boards, council-led listening sessions, and facilitated planning meetings, and she supported additional neighborhood outreach to find common ground on the design of the Martin Luther King Jr. Park, which she called, quote, a living example of what can happen when each voice is listened to and neighbors are willing to work together to make sure no one is left out, end quote. And whereas Jackie encouraged participants in the Carrboro Connects comprehensive plan process to embrace a vision of a community of neighborhoods, and she stressed in particular the importance of affordable housing for those transitioning out of homelessness, for those in the missing middle, and for everyone in between. And whereas Jackie has lived in Carrboro for the past 45 years, and with her husband, local builder James Arndt, has raised 3 stepdaughters, Britton, Shelby, and Quinn, all graduates of the Chapel Hill Carrboro City Schools. She is a first-time grandmother to John Archer and is adored by many of the other members of her close-knit family and the broader community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town of Carrboro hereby names the town's summer apprenticeship program in the arts, the Jackie Gist Summer Apprenticeship in the Arts, in appreciation for Jackie's 32 years of service and dedication to the town of Carrboro. And be it further resolved that the town council thanks Jackie for bringing humor, historic context, and candor as she helped shape our community in innumerable ways over the past 3 decades. And be it therefore resolved that the town council hereby expresses the deepest gratitude to Jackie for her service to the people of Carrboro, wishes her ongoing professional and personal fulfillment in her work with students at the UNC Chapel Hill, and looks forward to her continuing involvement in this community of neighborhoods that she cherishes. This 7th day of December, 2021.
Mary, do we have the sign back there? We do. So one of the customs that that has emerged on the town council over the past many years is to give a fun gift to outgoing council members, which is prepared by our public works staff, and that is a street sign in the name of the person leaving the council. So this is for Jacqueline Gistway, who served on the council since 1989. So congratulations to Jackie. We're also going to, Jackie was, although as you know, couldn't be here tonight, she did prepare a statement, and so we're going to have a chance to see that now.
Good evening, Carrboro. I'm really excited about this evening. I'm so sorry that I can't be here in person. My family from out of town is coming on Wednesday, including a 2-month-old baby. And they have asked me not to be in crowded indoor spaces. And so I agreed with the family to not join you tonight, although my heart is with you and I really wish that I was in person. I want to start by congratulating the winners from last month. It was a campaign like we've never seen before. It was a great campaign. Danny and the Social Democratic Party, you brought a whole new energy to Carrboro, and I congratulate you for your seat on the board, and I look forward to the energy and ideas that you will bring. Barb, Dan, Randy, you're all exactly where I want you to be, and so I appreciate your work and what you'll contribute going forward. I do want to take a minute this evening to recognize the passing of Judith Wegner. Judith preceded me in my seat on the council, and she passed away this past Friday. She will be missed by our community. She brought a whole new energy to Carrboro, including revamping how we did planning. So Judith, you will be missed. I come tonight with a heart full of gratitude to Carrboro. I love Carrboro. When I first came here, the very first thing I felt was a sense of place, a sense of home, a sense of community. And so I've spent the past 32 years working to make sure that everybody who came to Carrboro felt that same sense of place and home and community. And we've done pretty well, huh? I'm really happy with the town the way it is, and I'm excited about what I've been able to contribute during my time here. I want to thank our town staff. The board sets the policy, but the staff makes sure that we have the information that we need and that policies are implemented in a way that makes sense and is in the best interest of the entire community. I've worked with many really strong, good town managers, not the least of whom is Richard White. Richard, I'm so excited that you're in the seat that you are now. I remember back when you were here with us in the beginning, you and I working together to secure the Adams track and to preserve the Adams track. Your work on that makes me positive that you're going to be a great town manager, and I look forward to serving with you. I also want to thank our police chief. Chris, you've taken over a wonderful department. The people who preceded you have all been really wonderful and have done a great job of making sure that Carrboro has a police department that we can be proud of. Trish, our planning department, you have made Carrboro what it is today, and I really, really appreciate all the work that you have done. Kathy, we're leaving around the same time, and I'm really, really going to miss you. Nick and our law team, you make sure that the board does what it needs to be doing with a sense of humor. I really appreciate that. Appreciate our fire department and the way it's grown and evolved over the years. There was a time when I first came here where there were no women in the fire department, and boy, that has changed. Our public works department and the great job you do of making sure that our town looks good and feels good. Arch and your team, you win us budget awards year after year after year. I very much appreciate you. And Recreation and Parks. Anita and I have worked together during most of my tenure on the board, including our last major project, of making sure that the Dr. MLK Park, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Park, was everything we wanted it to be and meets a lot of needs. I also want to make sure that I thank the people I've served with for the past 4 years. Sammy, you keep us honest. You make sure that climate change and the future is always part of our agenda. I especially appreciate that you're one of the best dads that I know. I've really enjoyed in the past year, your daughter zooming in and out with us. That has been a delight. Damon, you've been an excellent board member. Your understanding of policy, your research, your helping to move us forward ensures me that you're going to be a great mayor. And speaking of great mayors, Lydia, you've been one of the best that I've worked with, and I really appreciate how you've always made sure that Carrboro is on an equal footing with Chapel Hill and with the county. Susan, always reminding us to make sure that those who have the least get the most attention. I really appreciate all that you've brought to the board with that. And Barb, my friend Barb, I am really going to miss you. I miss the energy that you bring. I don't think I've ever met anybody in my life with more energy than you have, Barb. Your energy, your commitment, your connection to the community, they are unmatched. And last but not least, my dear friend, Randy, I'm really going to miss our time together on the board, but I'm sure that we will be able to continue our friendship. I'll miss you. And people I've had the honor of serving with before, and there are too many to count. Ellie Kennard, who was the first mayor I served with and who really helped bring Carrboro into the progressive town that we are today. And my friend Jay Bryan, my friend and mentor. Jay, I loved our service together, and I've really appreciated your support. Mainly, I want to thank the people of Carrboro. You are an amazing community. You take care of each other, as we saw during the pandemic, and I've been really touched by all the outreach that members of our community have done to me in the last month. So Carrboro, I'd say I would miss you, but I'm not going anywhere. And I hope you all enjoy this evening. Thank you so much for letting me be part of the leadership of this town, and I look forward to our future.
Thank you, Jackie. I know you're listening, and it's great to have you with us tonight. Randy, I'd like to recognize you to move approval of the resolution, please.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution honoring Councilmember Jacqueline Guest.
I second the motion.
The motion is made by Randy, seconded by Barbara, that we approve the resolution. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Matter passes unanimously. Thank you, Randy. Next, I'd like to invite Lydia to join me at the lectern.
Level-headed Lydia, a Wolfpack girl.
We also prepared a resolution, teamwork, to honor Lydia. So I'll try to get through it and keep it together. This is a resolution honoring Mayor Lydia Lavelle. Whereas Lydia Lavelle has lived a life of public service, and by the time she found her way to Carrboro, she had served for a decade on the Durham Open Space and Trails Commission and on the Durham Recreation Advisory Committee. And whereas in 2006 and 2007, Lydia served as the chair of Carrboro's New Horizons Task Force, which aimed to foster better communication between the town government and the residents of her neighborhood and other neighborhoods that had been newly annexed into Carrboro. And she later served on the Carrboro Planning Board. And whereas Lydia is a lifelong learner and teacher, and in her professional life is a member of the faculty at the North Carolina Central University School of Law, where she teaches state and local government law, sexual identity in the law, transgender rights, and social justice and gender law and policy. And whereas Lydia served as an alderman of the town of Carrboro for 6 years, having been elected in 2007 and re-elected in 2011, and then served 4 terms as mayor of Carrboro, after being elected in 2013 and re-elected in 2015, 2017, and 2019. And whereas during her tenure as mayor and alderman, Lydia represented Carrboro as a member of the North Carolina Metropolitan Mayors Coalition, the North Carolina Department of Administration's Commission on Inclusion, the Chatham Orange Joint Planning Work Group, the Orange County Visitors Bureau Board of Directors, the Orange County Intergovernmental Parks Work Group, the Orange County Solid Waste Advisory Group, the Chapel Hill Public Transit Committee, and the Chamber for Greater Chapel Hill Carrboro Board of Directors, and as the chair of the Durham Chapel Hill Carrboro Metropolitan Planning Organization Board. And she was the Town Council's liaison to the Affordable Housing Task Force, the Greenways Commission, the Planning Board, and the Recreation and Parks Commission. And whereas Lydia takes pride in finding opportunities for Carrboro to shine as a leader among North Carolina municipalities and in modeling the way for her colleagues across the state. And whereas Lydia worked with Carrboro resident James Williams to initiate the annual reading of Frederick Douglass's essay, What to the Slave is the 4th of July, which has become one of Carrboro's signature events by featuring dozens of community readers and presenting keynote addresses from prominent historical and legal scholars, such as Professor Reginald Hildebrand. I had to look up this list. Professor Ted Shaw, many of you know these names very well, Professor Blair Kelly, Professor April Dawson, Professor William Sturkey, and Professor Freddie Parker, and most recently from Associate Justice Anita Earls and former Chief Justice Sherry Beasley of the North Carolina Supreme Court. And whereas for most of her last term as mayor, Lydia led the town through the COVID-19 public health emergency, working collaboratively with the mayors of Chapel Hill and Hillsborough, who are both here tonight, and the chair of the Orange County Board of Commissioners, both former and current, who is also here tonight, to take a unified, county-wide approach to keeping all of our communities safe, sharing consistent and accurate information, and supporting the county health director and emergency services director in organizing an effective emergency response. And whereas Lydia was the first and is so far the only openly lesbian person to serve as a mayor in North Carolina, and for most of her time as mayor was the only openly gay or lesbian mayor in the state. And whereas in 2014, Lydia and her wife, Alicia Stemper, who's here, became the first same-sex couple to receive a marriage license in Orange County, and they celebrated their wedding in a public ceremony on the town commons for all of us to share in. And whereas in 2016, Lydia led the charge among local governments in calling for the repeal of the anti-transgender, anti-gay, anti-worker House Bill 2, and in the aftermath of that fight, she worked in coalition with statewide advocacy groups to help towns, cities, and counties across North Carolina adopt comprehensive non-discrimination ordinances that now protect the rights of millions of North Carolinians. That's her, she did that. And whereas Lydia is a great advocate for the town and is deeply passionate about all things Carrboro, especially the music and poetry festivals, farmers market, the holiday celebrations and pride parades, the ribbon cuttings, and other opportunities to celebrate the community and its residents. And whereas Lydia was a strong and steady supporter of the 203 project, which will add to the vibrancy and accessibility of downtown Carrboro as the home of the Orange County Southern Branch Library. And whereas Lydia established the custom of inviting Carrboro's poet laureate to open each meeting of the town council. And at special events, she often shared a poem of her own. Maybe she'll do that tonight. And whereas in October 2016, Lydia hosted Carrboro's first ever Mayor's Roundtable, which featured a discussion among former mayors Robert Drakeford, Jim Porto, Ellie Kinnaird, Mike Nelson, Mark Chilton. And whereas Lydia brought her lifelong love of sports into the mayor's office, most recently starting a student essay contest on what baseball or softball means to me, writing a Play Ball Summer proclamation for Carrboro, and celebrating the centennial of the Negro Leagues. And she has never let her town council colleagues forget that she is a diehard fan of the NC State Wolfpack. Take a breath for that one. And whereas Lydia met regularly with elementary school students to talk about town government, she established the Mayor's Youth Advisory Board. And to the delight of parents and coaches, she made a point of inviting local high school athletic teams to town council meetings to celebrate their achievements. And whereas Lydia's colleagues on the town council describe her as a gracious and inviting public servant who could be tough and tenacious when necessary, level-headed in her leadership, and having successfully sustained an even keel through the most intense issues that the council has had to grapple with, thoughtful about community needs and values, a source of knowledge and support for council members, devoted to a collaborative process when problem solving, a strong advocate for Carrboro, and solid negotiator when representing Carrboro's interests at the county and interjurisdictional levels. And most important, I think, humble, down-to-earth, unpretentious, all qualities that really stand out in the world of politics. And whereas, as another colleague said, Lydia didn't understand that this was a part-time job. She did not stop. She was always available and worked full-time at being a mayor every week. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town Council wishes Lydia continued success as a teacher and mentor to future public servants, fun and happiness with family and friends on what will undoubtedly be many upcoming trips to the beach, and great pride and pleasure riding her new e-bike all over Carrboro. Be it further resolved that the Town Council hereby expresses heartfelt thanks to Lydia for her service to the people of Carrboro, her optimism, and her example. This, the 7th day of December, 2021. There is also now a Lydia Lavelle Lane in Carrboro, just so you know. Would you like the mic?
Yes.
All right, excellent.
So good evening, everyone. Boy, that was really nice, y'all. Thank you so very, very much. Before I get into just a few brief remarks, I actually would like for Damon to meet me back up here again. So. Damon, this is a little present I have for you as you enter the mayor's office. So I'd like for you to open it up now. If you
Oh,
would.
great.
I love the
I don't even like
paper.
doing this at home. My parents can tell you. Oh, nice.
Oh, look.
So this is a picture of Mike Nelson and me and Damon, kind of recognizing, we're not the only town that's had 2 gay mayors. Now we will have 3 gay mayors. So pretty awesome. So also, I would like to say happy birthday to my brother-in-law, John, from Switzerland, who is watching this today. So I welcome this opportunity to make a few brief remarks here on this day, my last day waking up as the mayor of Carrboro. Who would have thought that March 10, 2020 would have been the last time I served as mayor for a regular meeting in this room? After being sworn in here in this room in December of 2019, we only had 5 council meetings before the COVID-19 pandemic hit us. I was out of town the weekend of March 13 through 15 celebrating my birthday at the beach with friends when I suddenly had to shift my mayoral duties in a way I never dreamed would happen. Talking with our other Orange County leaders as we set about drafting our respective declarations of emergency. And here in Carrboro, I had no way of knowing that our next 57 council meetings would be by Zoom. And in fact, we're all here today in person, and I hope this signifies yet another positive milestone in what has been an extremely grueling 22 months for those of us in local leadership. But I want to take this opportunity right now to step back and just reflect briefly on the prior 14 years I've held elective office, last 8 years as mayor of this town. And some of you may have seen on Facebook over the last 5 days, I did this also kind of just reflecting. So if you haven't seen that, go there because I don't want to repeat a lot of that. But first and foremost, I do want to recognize and thank my family members. The very wonderful, fabulous Alicia Stemper, my wife, the love of my life. For her encouragement and support during this entire time. Many of you, if not all of you, know her, and it's not a stretch to say I hit the milestone. I hit the jackpot when it comes to supportive partners. It also is nice that she's a professional photographer, I might add. And I'll also mention when I started this elected journey that our kids, Riley and Avery, were 12 and 9. And Riley's actually here today. Avery couldn't be here. He's out of town, out of the country, actually. But Riley and Avery are now 26 and 23. You know, when we started out, they were 12 and 9, and they literally grew up, you know, putting up signs, walking around to knock on doors with us, helping us out at the polls on Election Day, attending campaign parties with us. Also so very, very thankful for their support. And looking back, the week before I was first elected to the Carrboro Board of Aldermen, for the first time, my dad had a horrific brain event, and he was not expected to live. And I got this call, and I had to go home for the entire week before my first election. Thankfully, he made it through those surgeries and was alive to see me elected as mayor, and also came down here and actually was able to campaign a little bit one time, so that was pretty awesome. Since I was first sworn in to serve on this governing board, we've had roughly 480 meetings. To my recollection, I've missed a handful of those meetings. One when my dad died, one when Alicia's mom died, one when our nephew Billy graduated from high school, one when we had this gas smell in the house, and we were worried our house might end up on fire, and Alicia was out of town, so I had to miss a meeting. And twice last year when Alicia was battling COVID. During my time on this council, and particularly during my time as mayor, we have accomplished so much, y'all. It's been fabulous. And thank you for that resolution. It really captured more than I could even remember. So thank you. I want to highlight just a few that were also special to me. Again, I believe we have elevated Carrboro's profile statewide during the last 8 years. I feel like Carrboro's voice was heard more than ever in the face of extreme attack by the North Carolina General Assembly. We were leaders on many of these issues. We spoke out loud and clear against HB 2, against attacks against our immigrant community, legislation to limit our ability to protect our environment, and so much more that this regressive group threw upon us. How fortunate we are that here in Carrboro, our biggest problem is perhaps figuring out how best to work on and to prioritize all of the values that we all agree upon. I greatly appreciate and am thankful for all of the elected officials I got to work with over the years, many of them right here. And I have often touted our small but mighty Carrboro staff and our ability for them to be able to prioritize and react quickly when necessary. We saw this time and again over the last 8 years. And I think Jackie mentioned this. It's easy for us to sit up here and pronounce these grand ideas and policies that sound good, but it's another matter to actually put those into practice on the ground. And we count on our staff to take the hours to figure out how to do the work to actualize those ideas and policies. For recent examples, I think of the fact we were the first council in the state to meet remotely, the first to get money out to our small businesses as quickly as possible during the crisis of the early days of the pandemic. And I think of how quickly we were able to get our Black Lives Matter murals approved and painted and visible in our town, and how efficiently and systematically we coordinated with the other jurisdictions to work to spend the hundreds and thousands of dollars of pandemic money we have received to keep people in their homes and able to survive this past almost 2 years. So our council was able to do this time and again because of our small but mighty staff. Thank you very much. Finally, I think one of the most important responsibilities I had when I was mayor was to use the office to serve as a role model, a spokesperson, an advocate for gay rights, but more specifically for gay kids. This was a responsibility Mike Nelson took on before me, and I know that Damon will continue to carry it. Because even with the right for same-sex couples to marry and the right under Title VII federal law for persons who are LGBTQ to not be fired from their jobs, homophobia and transphobia still exists in our communities, if not as overt as before. And so as mayor, I took every opportunity I could in every setting to talk about my wife, our children, and our ordinary lives in an effort to educate and expose others to the normalcy of our lives. I cherish the times I got to speak to young people about gay issues, and times I heard from young people who had no one else to speak to, or right to, and just needed an adult to tell them that they were okay. So don't forget, those kids are still out there. They need all of us to support them. And I also recognize I came into this position during an historic time for gay rights. And as Damon said, it was really awesome as mayor to be able to get legally married to Alicia right here at Carrboro Town Commons with the community as our witness 2 weeks after marriage equality came to our state. And so in closing these remarks, my students, family, and friends know how much I love trains. And I have often said, serving in elected office is like hopping on a moving train. It's traveled many miles before you got on it. It will journey for many miles after you get off of it. The various train operators and conductors and passengers change out as well over time. It has to change direction sometimes. Sometimes it slows down. It continues to move steadily forward. The point is, our service as elected officials is just part of the journey. And in departing the train, we count on others to carry on the attention that we gave to the town, just as we did for those before us. So that is true for me tonight as I step off of this train. Thank you, Carrboro, for a wonderful ride. All right, go pack.
Thank you, Lydia. Bravo, may I recognize you to make a motion to approve this resolution?
Oh, I motion that we approve this resolution honoring Lydia Lavelle.
There a second?
Second.
Moved by Barbara, seconded by Randy, that we approve this resolution. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? The matter passes unanimously.
Mhm.
Thanks, Lydia. Do council members have comments to share? Can I start with you, Randy?
Lydia and I started to work together on the New Horizons Task Force. Lydia called me when her neighborhood, Tally Ho, was being annexed, and we were very concerned that the neighborhood had representation, had voice. And, those were really awkward times. There were several neighborhoods that really felt that the town didn't know what was going on with them. They wanted to be heard. They didn't have a clear pathway to voice. And Lydia and I met, and from the moment we met, I knew that someday Lydia would be sitting on the Board of Aldermen with us, and I was very excited when she said that she would run for mayor. I remember voting for Braxton Fouché. I've been here that long. The Carrboro is very, very special. But Lydia's tenure, not only on the council, and her tagline, this was Lydia's tagline when we were talking about Lydia running for alderman. She said, I think my tagline's going to be level-headed Lydia. And I said, that is so true, and it's true, it's still true today. But when Lydia ran and joined us on the board, she brought something very special, and occasionally would treat us to her holiday poems that were a lot of fun. But more than anything else, when Lydia became mayor, there were certain textural things that she brought to the role that we had not seen before, and some of this was mentioned. I'm just going to highlight a couple that really are very meaningful. When we talk about the sports teams being honored, for a while there, we would have like 4 or 5 teams coming up. But what happened from where I sat, I would look out and I would see the athletes and the parents and how they saw that they were part of something greater than just the sports on the field. They became part of the fabric of the community. There were other examples of that where Lydia had a sense of bringing out what we feel about Carrboro from very different groups. And I will say that, as time went on, whether it was the poetry reading or the July 4th Frederick Douglass reading, there is a quality, Lydia, that you have brought, that you find a way to pull a heartstring thread through to community, and we all could feel it no matter what event it was. So finally, I'm just going to say that I got a text from Lydia in the spring, and Lydia said, we're talking about the Pride Piper event. And this is in a text, and I'm reading this. She said, would you consider doing what you did for Earth Day? And I wrote back, and I knew it was going to be all kinds of organization that I really wasn't up for doing. And I said, absolutely. Because I know that Lydia does that for all of us and has. And so don't be a stranger. We love you.
Thanks, Randy. Would any other council members like to offer comments? Susan.
Thank you for those comments, Randy. And with our resolutions tonight, I feel like we're really recognizing 2 community pillars. And it's been a real honor for me to get to serve Lydia with you as well as with you, Jackie. So I'm going to start with Jackie. When I was running for what was then called the Board of Aldermen in spring of 2019, Jackie, you invited me to the unveiling ceremony for the first Truth Plaque here at Carrboro Town Hall. Some of you may have seen that Truth Plaque when you were walking through the front doors of Town Hall this evening. And I'm so glad that I attended the ceremony. It was a really special moment, Jackie, when you and other members of the task force, and Braxton, I know, was on that task force as well, shine the spotlight on Carrboro, some of Carrboro's very dark history around our namesake. But also, the plaque encourages us to learn from that history and to do better. During the ceremony, Jackie, you were asked, will we ever get it perfect? And you said, I don't think so, but we won't get anywhere near there if we don't keep working. So I mentioned this story because last week, members of town council were asked to select the advisory boards and commissions that they hope to serve as liaisons on over the next couple of years. And my very first pick was the Truth Plaque Task Force. And Jackie, I just want you to know it will be a real honor for me to be able to carry on your legacy on that task force. And I know that the task force may not ever get it perfect, but the task force will be continuing to work at it, and the progress they make in coming years will really be a part of your legacy. And just a reminder that your 32-year gift to Carrboro is a gift that will keep on giving and giving and giving. So thank you for that. And Lydia, just a few comments about you. Lydia talked about this pandemic coming along. This was actually right shortly after I was elected. And so I would never have guessed when I was sworn in 2 years ago that so many of our meetings would end up being virtual. But thankfully, Lydia, we both like to walk and we both like to talk. And so we've had that's actually ended up being a really great source for our connection over the last couple of years as we've grown our friendship that way. And during our walks, I've grown to, first of all, appreciate what a workhorse you are. So Lydia really holds 2 full-time jobs as mayor of Carrboro during a pandemic, and also as a professor at North Carolina Central University School of Law. But I've also come to appreciate during our walks that you pack in more joy during your little bit of free time than anybody I've ever known and probably ever will know. So the wolf pack sports that came up earlier, no surprise that your favorite color is red. I also know that you're a huge Cincinnati Bengals fan now that the quarterback is Joe Burrow from your hometown of Athens, Ohio. So go Joe. I know that you really love reading history and writing poetry. I know that you love walking on the beach at sunset and hiking the mountains in Brevard. I know that you already are really enjoying tooling around town on your new e-bike with Alicia. I know that you love board games and fantasy baseball. You love your 2 cats. Thank you for the names, Alicia, Lyra and Luna. You love a quiet dinner with Alicia, who I understand is an amazing cook. And you, of course, very much love your family reunions, which this year I know was highlighted by Riley has left, but Riley's wedding. So I think Kathy Durando, our town clerk, really put it best when she said, Mayor Lavelle's capacity for work is only matched by her appreciation for history, culture, music, and fun. So now that one of your full-time jobs is off your plate, I'm really excited about the time that you will have to pursue all of the joys that come through your hobbies and your events and the people in your life. And I just hope you'll remember I'm still going to be just a walk or a bike away. Wishing you all the best.
Thank you, Susan. Hey, Randy, I think you had one more comment.
Yeah, so, Lydia, we ordered, and it's sitting in Raleigh on a pallet,
Of course.
a wonderful purple and yellow baseball jersey with your name and Carrboro and the Carrboro logo, and I wish it were here. I've been fighting with DHL and UPS, and in fact, I said, "Can't I just drive over and pick it up?" And they're like, "No, you don't understand. It's on a pallet." But we will get it to you, and I'm hoping is Kat Lazorko here because we'll get some pictures of that when it comes in. So I'm sorry it wasn't here on time. Or maybe, I don't know, probably would have taken 6 months to get here at this rate. So, yes, baseball for you.
Thank you, Randy. If there are no other comments from council members, I'll just share quickly that Jackie, first of all, thank you for it's a pretty special privilege to be, especially as a newcomer on the council several years ago, to have access to someone who's so free with just experience and knowledge and being willing to pick up the phone whenever you call and share it with you. And I was texting with Jackie even today a little bit and told her that I look very much to seeing her very soon to buy her a drink and having some more conversations about Carrboro. Lydia, we said a lot in the resolution and I don't want to go on too long, but you really have been a true friend and mentor to me, and I can only hope to match your what you've brought to this office. So thank you for the trust you've placed in me. All right. Another item of business that we have to do tonight at this meeting is elect a mayor pro tempore. And I'd like to recognize our current Mayor Pro Tem, Barbara Fushi, to make a nomination.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor D. So I would like to, at this time, I would like to nominate Councilmember Susan Romaine to be the town of Carrboro's next Mayor Pro Tem. Happy to do it.
Thank you, Barbara. Is there a second? Okay. Moved by Barbara and seconded by Sammy that Susan become our next Mayor Pro Tem. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The matter passes unanimously. Thank you, Susan, for stepping up. It has been the custom of the council for many years now, predating most of us, I think, on the council, to elevate to Mayor Pro Tem status the person who's most senior on the council but hasn't yet played that role. So it's Susan's turn, and I know that she's going to relish it and take it seriously. Mr. Manager, I give you your new town council, and will you please introduce the consent agenda to us?
Thank you, Mayor. The first item is the approval of abstracted votes cast at the November 2nd, 2021 election. The purpose of this item is for the town council to consider approval of the abstracted votes cast at the November 2nd, 2021 election. Keep going.
Yeah, let's go ahead and summarize the whole agenda.
Okay. The next item is the adoption of the 2022 meeting calendar. The purpose of this item is for the town council to adopt the 2022 meeting calendar. The next item is the town council committee assignments. The purpose of this item is to allow the town council to consider committee assignments for 2022. And the last item is a resolution calling a special election to fill the council member seat vacated by the election of Mayor Sells.
Okay, so we have those items on the consent agenda. Do we have to discuss any discussion for any of those items?
I'll move them.
I'll second.
I actually do want to quickly, I'm sorry I didn't mention this, pull item number 4 very quickly for a slight tweak to the language because of some of the recent court decisions regarding the upcoming primary election. But Barbara, can I take your motion to be approve items 1 through 3?
Yes.
Randy?
Yes.
It's been moved by Barbara and seconded by Randy to approve items 1 through 3 on the consent agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Matter passes unanimously. I'd like to say the fourth item on the consent agenda is adopting a resolution to call a special election to fill the vacancy on the council. Section 1 of the final portion of the resolution sets out the date for that special election. We want to clarify that section by adding that the date will be March 8th and adding the following language: except if the primary for county offices is not on March 8th, then the special election shall be on the day of the primary for county offices. There have been some court decisions that complicate matters potentially for this primary election, and we want to make sure that we're not caught in the position of having simply a council special election and that's it at that time. So I'd ask for a council member to move approval of the resolution with that change.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So with that clarification, Mayor, is it potentially a longer period of time that we'll be operating with 6 council members? Or
I think if
a
only
possibility?
if the courts postponed the date of the what they did first yesterday was they postponed the date of of the congressional district elections, but left everything else untouched.
Yes.
And then I think they reversed that, and so now it's on.
Mm-hmm.
If they do postpone everything, including the county office elections, that would kick in this new language to make ours at the same date. Now we can, and I did discuss this with the town clerk, and I think she discussed this with the attorney. If we decide if that happens, which we don't know is going to happen,
I hope it does.
if that happens, we could just decide at that time we don't want to wait that long, and we'd rather not call a special election and instead proceed with making an appointment.
Hopefully it'll stay on schedule. Thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the resolution as amended?
Just one more question. In terms of when we're likely to get most turnout between those two, because we're setting it for when the commissioner primary happens. And of course, that would help that race. But in terms of maximizing turnout or selecting who's going to be on this, any thoughts on that?
I guess I think the reason to tie it, in my mind, the reason to tie it to the county elections is that those seem to me to be at least a risk of being played around with by the courts. They're not subject to the whole redistricting mess. Tying it to those other elections feels a little
Up in the air too much.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
okay. I don't remember if there was a motion now. Is there a motion to approve the resolution as amended?
Danny?
Move to approve.
Okay.
Nice.
Is there a second? And moved by Danny and seconded by Susan to hesitantly call this special election for the vacancy on the council, and the resolution as amended. I think I forwarded the language to the clerk. All in favor of the resolution, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Two very quick items. I mentioned this to council members over email. I do need to call a special meeting of the council for next Tuesday, December 14th, for two items. One is to consider awarding emergency COVID-19 mitigation business grants, which we've heard about before from the manager. And the second is to discuss the applicant pool for the town clerk position. So that, I'm assuming folks are okay with meeting at 7 p.m., but is there another time that folks prefer, if not that? 7 p.m. So we'll call that special meeting for next Tuesday at 7 p.m., and it will be via Zoom. Second, and a segue from that previous item, and something that we haven't celebrated appropriately yet, but we certainly will next month, and that is that this is technically the last official meeting of our town clerk, Kathy Durando. She's been buzzing around in the background a bit, making this meeting happen without you knowing it. And I just want to acknowledge that for everyone tonight. Kathy has been with the town for several years now as clerk. She has really elevated the clerk position to something more than a clerk. I think what we typically think of as a clerk. She just stepped in at the back, and we are going to celebrate Kathy after the new year. She has graciously offered to be as helpful as she can be with us in this transition to a new clerk once we identify a new clerk. And I just want to thank Kathy for really for everything. Thank you, Kathy. All right. I believe there are some gift bags out in the lobby for folks as you leave in lieu of a reception this evening. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So move. Listen.
And moved by Barbara and seconded by Randy to adjourn. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
You're adjourned.